Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for the second day of Nextv series Europe and CEE. We hope that you had a nice session yesterday, and for today we have planned a jam-packed agenda for you. So once again, we would like to thank all our speakers, sponsors, and attendees. So I will just share my screen for you to have a look at today's agenda. So for today, we'll start with the panel Free-to-Air Broadcasters OTT D2C Strategy. Then we'll move on for a panel on the content-forward experience, increased discoverability of your content on Amazon Fire TV. Then we'll have a session build or buy in OTT, opportunities and challenges with in-house development. Cloud TV for pay TV D2C strategy. Then in the afternoon, we'll start with a panel Add a Pinch of Salto, the secret recipe of local streaming services. We'll have a country focus on Turkey, and then a panel on mobile operators going into TV and pay TV going to mobile. We'll end with a session on how to leverage cloud and AI to deliver winning home video experiences. So without any further delay, so I would like to present to you today the first session panelists, Free-to-Air Broadcasters OTT D2C Strategy. So we have the pleasure to welcome Gerald Zenkel from Bitmovin, Katarzyna Jodowska from TV and Discovery, Pierre-Adrien Herlet from SRG and SSR, and then Neil Bennett from BritBox International. So this panel will be moderated by Annette Schaffer from Big Picture. So Annette, you have the floor. You can start.
Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you very much for the intro, and welcome for the first day of Nextv series, and welcome you all for the panel. I'm very happy. You have a great panel this morning and great speakers, and I think we will have a great discussion about how broadcast is embracing OTT and going direct to the consumer. And before we will kick it really off, I would love to the panelists to introduce themselves a bit to the audience, what they do, what's their responsibility, and they're working on. Kasia, would you like to go first? She's the head of product and editorial team at Player in Poland for TVN and Discovery.
Hi, thank you for introduction. So I'm head of product and editorial team of Player, which is leading OTT platform in Poland, owned by TV and Discovery. We deliver a whole menu of content that people simply love, because we have the best entertainment, but also sports and news. So among the content that we deliver, we have, of course, TV and Discovery content, but also Discovery Plus library and HBO, Canal Plus, 11 sports content, or Viacom CBS. So whole menu of content that people love. I think that what is most important right now is that in February, we enabled our users to access Player only as paid service, which means that you have to pay if you want to watch Player. And we also introduced in the same time Ad-Lite package, which means that previous AVOD users could migrate and are migrating to SVOD Ad-Lite package, which enables them to watch all TV and Discovery library, but with ads. So this is what we are doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kasia. Pierre-Adrien, would you like to go next and tell a little bit what you're doing at Play Swiss and what is the aim of SSR, SRG, SRG, SSR? I was sure. What you try to achieve there and what you're currently working on?
Sure. Thank you for having me, and thank you, Annette. So my name is Pierre-Adrien Herlet, and I oversee the build-out and the growth of Play Suisse, which is the new streaming platform from the public service broadcaster in Switzerland, SRG SSR. The particularity of our country is that we have multiple business units. We have broadcasters in every linguistic region. So our goal with this platform is to address the entire country in the different linguistic regions with one destination for documentary and fiction. We leave sports and news in the regions, as there is a live aspect that we don't handle on Play Suisse for obvious subtitling reasons. But we've developed a platform that is unique in a way that it's a national catalog where you find everything in one place. Nevertheless, we have regional broadcasters with their own platform, and I oversee that with product development, marketing, and content.
Thank you, Pierre-Adrien. Garrett, I would like to hand over to you. Garrett is the head of inside sales at Bitmovin and probably has the vendor, the supplier perspective on what is currently happening in the broadcast area scene on OTT strategies. Garrett, we'll go back next.
Welcome everyone, and thanks for being part of this panel. Really excited to talk with all of you together today about interesting topics in the video industry. And who of you have ever experienced buffering or a bad video quality? Say I. And when you look at this, right, this is exactly what Bitmovin avoids. We power the world's largest OTT online video providers, broadcasters, telcos, pure OTT services, publishers, and enabling them with video developer tools built by industry experts to really redefine the viewer experience, to reduce time to market, and also optimize the whole operations. And it's hard to bring videos to every device and every platform. There are so many browsers, so many different devices, smartphones, smart TVs, and so on out there. And the users are expecting videos to run on every device and every platform with the right quality. That's what Bitmovin does, providing OTT services with the technology that videos run on every device and every platform, and even reducing costs here on the delivery side. Thanks again for having me. Really happy about the chat today.
Thank you, Garrett. Now, would you like to go next and to tell a bit about what you do? You said in the beginning when we had to prepare the evaluation for the panel that you are leading in new markets as a launch director for BritBox International. I think not everybody is aware that BritBox is also available outside of the UK, so it would be great to tell the audience a little bit what actually you're doing, what your responsibilities are.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, and good to have the opportunity to join you today. So BritBox International is the joint venture between BBC and ITV, so the two largest free-to-air broadcasters in the UK. It's a subscription service that brings the best of British content, primarily from the catalogues of our shareholders, parent companies, but also from third parties, and brings that all together in a best of British experience. We launched in the US actually 4 years ago, and shortly afterwards in Canada. In the UK 18 months ago now, and Australia last year. And we've recently announced plans to launch in approximately another 25 countries in the near future, which will start with South Africa quite soon. So my role at BritBox is, as new markets launch director, is to oversee the launch of the service into new territories. So that's working across editorial, marketing, operations, and just bringing together everything that's needed to launch into new territories.
Great. Thanks, Mike. I think it's a very interesting panel this morning because it's really a transformation of free-to-air broadcasters businesses into a D2C relationship that it probably didn't have before and didn't also measure, or measure the audience ratings, but I think it doesn't have a direct relationship. So what would you see as one of the specific challenges for broadcasters launching an OTT service, or are there none? Or is it something that is the same as I said, the pay TV operator would transform their free-to-air broadcasting to an OTT, or bringing the assets to an OTT direct-to-consumer service? is there anything that you see is that's very specific to free-to-air broadcasters, or could you a little elaborate what were your biggest challenges when you started doing this, or what were the biggest hurdles that you had to overcome? Who would like to go first? Pierre?
Sure, I'll take this one. For us, I think the big challenge was to go basically from what we traditionally do in the catch-up area, which is basically putting everything we have on air online in that order. And that's what our regional broadcasters have been doing for a very long time now. And our challenge was really to create a digital programming unit where we would not think about when the content is broadcasted, but rather which content from our archive, from what's recent, from whatever region, would make sense from a thematic perspective. So what we're doing is we're building really collections that are attractive regardless of when the content has been aired. And that's a very big difference from what the traditional streaming platforms in our group have been doing. The second thing I think is addressing the big screen. We've been going on to investing in the mobile and the web a lot in the past 10 to 15 years. And what's new now, I think, is that we're really bringing a family of applications that are running smoothly in the living room. And that's also been a cornerstone of Play Suisse.
And what was the change? I mean, from going from an online, on-demand, say, over the web services, what has changed? And you said you go into a library, you bring content, package it differently. Has the user behavior changed so much? Is there any experience did you see that has changed compared to the previous offers that the public broadcasters had already in place?
For us, I mean, it's a little bit early to say. We've been a little bit over 6 months in operation. However, what I can say is the way we work, especially in the way we promote our content and platform, is vastly different. What we do, we have different marketing channels, including our newsletter, which has been growing a lot in the past few months. And that's a direct channel. And we're really promoting based on events, based on what's going on in the society. And we're bringing together those collections of content that make sense at this very moment and pushing them through our marketing channels, whether it is paid channels, whether it's organic or paid social media, whether it is our newsletter, and so on and so forth. And I think the way that has been put together is very different from the traditional, I would say, linear approach. And of course, the work of our content team in putting together those great collections.
So you've been much more active, proactive marketing the services and bringing the attention from the audience, or getting the attention from the audience that they now can watch what they used to watch on a regular lineup on demand.
Yeah, and I think we have also a role in really making attractive what's content that's been aired like 1, 2, 3 years ago. And that's really great because we're seeing content picking up again 3 years after being broadcasted. And suddenly it's in the top 10 of the most watched content on the platform. And I think it really gives a second life to a lot of films and series in our lineup.
I think there's a lot of hidden gems especially in the European free-to-air broadcasters archives and libraries, and I think that probably Niall can add to that because I see you're nodding with what Pierre-Adrien is saying. What is your experience or what are your challenges on launching bringing the BBC and ITV content online or on demand?
Yeah, I would say in the UK, BBC and ITV have both been very, very effective for a number of years now at releasing catch-up TV, as Pierre says, and box sets to its audiences. The benefit we have in our home territory is that we have such a mass reach from our linear channels and our linear reach that this has become quite a natural add-on for consumers. It's very easy to market. Consumers have a very good, strong understanding and a very high expectation of what they'll see from our OTT services in our home market, and increasingly those services have added more box sets. I think the interesting challenges we're seeing as we move into new territories is that we haven't had this direct relationship with consumers in other territories. So BBC and ITV have both had linear channels in some countries, but most of our content has been distributed through third parties, where TV sales have meant that our biggest shows have ended up with third-party broadcasters or platforms, and have been quite spread around across a number of platforms. So if you want to watch British content, you may have to see that across maybe multiple broadcasters and services. So what we're finding internationally is the marketing is a very interesting aspect for us, because we have to actively go out and build a brand and market to those audiences, a lot of digital performance marketing alongside brand building. So that's a new challenge for us outside the UK, where we are predominantly a niche service, or we call ourselves a mainstream niche in some territories, where we're really targeting down on a particular audience within another territory. And then also we're having to tailor our editorial quite specifically as we go into each new country. So the elements of our catalogues and the elements of British content that's interesting in the US might all be around crime, drama and scripted, whereas when we go into Australia, there's much a broader interest in British content across entertainment and factual and lifestyle potentially. So we're having to think quite actively about how we tailor marketing and editorial for each new market we enter.
But some of the audience already might know the program, because they have to probably seen then on their linear channels as well, where the channels have acquired or licensed content from the BBC and ITV before, right? So I think you have a lot of good brands that help you to promote the service that is already very well known in the English-speaking communities outside of the UK, right? Or speaking countries.
We're thinking very important for us that our content still does surface on those other free-to-air platforms.
As well.
The content is well known, so certainly as a windowing strategy.
Yeah.
There's much content exclusively within our own service, but we also see it very important that those big brands have maybe a first window in a big linear free-to-air broadcaster in each territory, so that content is known. And as we've already talked briefly about content, there is a demand for content, second, third viewing, second, third windows, and especially if you can offer multi-seasons of that content on an on-demand perspective, that's a great opportunity to do that once content has passed through a brief.
So still using the free-to-air as a good, I think it's a good point as a marketing with a lot of reach, and then creating the appetite for certain content or show or series, and then moving the viewers into this on-demand world. Kasia, have you seen something similar from a perspective that you still need the free-to-air, I would say, as the common or the most platform with the most reach, and then you have a very different content lineup from sports over documentaries over shows. So I think you have a pretty good idea what resonates with the audience, what not.
Yes, I think that what is most important is programming, as Guys already mentioned. So finding the appropriate way of constructing emission windowing and emission, which enables us to maximize engagement and empower product life cycle, no matter which channel of distribution we talk about, and also mixing it with an offer pricing which is attractive to our very cost-sensitive audience is something that is core. We must remember that we compete over time of our audience, which is very limited. That's why we must address our offering and content in the way that makes us attractive both to linear TV audience, but also subscribers who often choose between Netflix and Player. And I think that we have quite strong competence in producing best local content. Just to mention, last year, one of the services that is devoted to streaming content, Just Watch, reported that our Polish Player original series Chyłka was better and was chosen by the most part of Polish audience, taking over Queen Gambits, which means that we know how to do best local content, not only series, of course, but also entertainment and lifestyle. So as I mentioned, our menu is really wide. I think that what is also important is to find the best way to premiere content. As for today, I think that most of TV and Discovery productions are premiered as pre-runs in Player, which means that the product life cycle starts on OTT platform. Also, this year in February, we, for the first time, I think, as far as that kind of blockbuster movie is concerned, we launched premiere of movie Letters to M4, which is a very popular series of romantic comedies in our OTT platform. So it was the first time in Poland, and we had a huge success. So I think that what is also important, we overtake Netflix in February on web with our 6.7 million subscribers, users, sorry. Understanding your core values and addressing content in a way that maximizes engagement all over the different platforms is important. You must know that in Poland right now, more than 30% of internet users are still high linear TV viewers, which means that they spend more than 4 hours watching TV. And we should compare that with high subscribers, high SVOD viewers, which count just 12% according to Ampere reports. So it means that our fishing pool remains still deep and wide, and we must approach it the best way we can. So on all devices, of course, possible.
Yes. Yeah. Well, these impressive numbers, and I think this is one of the big challenges from all of these free-to-air broadcasters, and especially to the pandemic, that people watch more linear or again longer hours a day linear content on a regular TV. But Gareth, what do you see from what you just heard from these 3 operations? What do you think is Bitmoving bring to the table, or what do you help them, or how you can help them to overcome these challenges from moving their business or transforming the business from free-to-air to an OTT service? What do you think are the key challenges, or what do you think is the sometimes overlooked, what needs to be in place from a tax standpoint point of view?
So thanks everyone for bringing these challenges up, right? Because I see it exactly in that way, that you have 3 main challenges, which is on the one hand side, the marketing part, to really get users, existing users, but also new users to your offerings. And as mentioned, there is huge potential going forward because linear is still a big topic, and there is a wide pool to fish in. So this is really good. So this is challenge number 1. Challenge number 2, in my opinion, is the whole delivery part, to make sure that they are, as you mentioned, Annette, on all the devices, that they have the quality they really want to see. And number 3 is analyzing it. And analyzing, I mean analyzing the videos, if they get delivered to all the platforms, if the user is really seeing what the user is expecting, but also going back to challenge number 1 on the marketing side and seeing what channels work, as also already mentioned. What is the content marketing, digital marketing, what works? What we actually see, and I will focus on the challenge number 2, on the delivery part, and that's also where Bitmoving is really, really focused. Making sure that the videos play on every device and every platform with a cost which is feasible to stream out here. And on the delivery part, the getting content to every platform is more and more important than ever before. As mentioned by everyone here in that round, smart TVs are getting more popular than ever before. And there is still this huge portion of linear TV, which the people watch on smart TVs, linear TV. And this is by far the biggest chance for free-to-air broadcasters, but obviously also for publishers, for everyone who wants to get a piece of this cake here, so to say, to really stream to smart TVs, for example. But there are huge challenges because it's hard to implement an SDK which works on every device and every platform. And here we work together with broadcasters like the BBC, for example, where we bring SDKs for smart TVs, for mobile applications, for web, that the streaming is smooth and possible to every device and every platform. I think this is really a huge challenge for everyone. And also one additional challenge, which was, I think, mentioned by Pierre, there is a huge content library and content can be reused. So in the OTT world, it's becoming like marketing, right? What marketing did 5 years ago, reusing the content on social media, making smaller content pieces, this is coming also to OTT now. And it's important to be also fast with that content and to analyze it fast to see which content works and probably bring additional content for exactly that topic also online to the OTT services. And this is, in my opinion, also another challenge for free-to-air broadcasters to analyze which content works and to immediately get some additional content with the same topic online, that you are not losing the viewers. Because as also mentioned, time, we are all competing on time, and it's publishers, it's free-to-air broadcasters, it's Netflix, it's YouTube, it's the whole social media. Everyone is competing on time. And that's what we see as the second really big challenge, and making it cost efficient is obviously then the third topic, to say when someone is watching one video piece of content, you want to get this out with the most efficient streaming costs, using new codecs like VP9, HEVC to reduce the streaming costs for you as an operator to increase your margins. I think these are really the big challenges what we see.
Okay, thank you. I think this content piece is a little bit, I think we could discuss a bit further, because I think there was two topic discussions saying we have some of the on-demand content that works better on demand and on free-to-air, and you guys just said we need to pick, an operator needs to pick the right free-to-air content that he brings online. Any other experience that you had to share with the audience, what exactly resonates and how you go about it to understand how you build your content lineup on an on-demand service? Wants to talk about this, or can explain a little bit how was your approach, or what approach you took, or what are your experiences with that? I mean, now you cater to different markets, Canada, or Pierre Adrien just raised his hand. That would be good.
I can chip in here, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's a big challenge for everyone with a platform to keep the users engaged, because with content, and we see that we acquire new users every day, and every week and every month we have more users. But the key is not to have the higher number of users, is to have them actually use the platform and come back and re-engage. And that we can not do with a product, that we have to do with content. And the way we do it, and what we have seen, is that, of course, on our platform, we have big event content, such as the fiction series. When we have an original series that comes out, then that's a big event and it drives a lot of traffic. But we also have those like lows in between that we have to fill. And I think what's really interesting, and what we're currently doing, is we're building partnerships. We're building basically content and cultural partnerships. So we have decided to be part of the Arte European Collection, which is an initiative from Arte to share content among broadcasters and display them onto the different platforms, streaming platforms of the broadcasters, of the participating members. We're putting together content partnerships with festivals, film festivals, but also music festivals. And those are each time new occasions to celebrate our content and our culture, and reactivate the users. So that's just an example of how we do it currently.
Kasia, what's your point of view on that?
Yes, as I mentioned, I think that we know quite well how to adapt the product life cycle to our audience needs, because we also deliver live channels via our OTT platform. But I think what is worth mentioning is how to adapt pricing of an offering and the business model to users' needs in order to want them to stay and engage, because our audience is very cost sensitive. Which means that they must, of course, have reason to engage, and that reason sticks in content, which we have the best local content, original series, live events, cultural events. Last year, we also launched Movie Festival for the first time in Player. So it was a really impressive experience. But right now, I think what we are working on is creating business model that will be approachable to new audiences and make them stay. As I mentioned, Ad-Light product that we launched in February was a huge success. It turned out that making an offering which is 3 times cheaper than our basic package, but also allows user to approach our whole library with pre-runs, with exclusive contents, is really key to understand and to meet also marketers and also the audience needs. So I think that one part of the issue is building engagement via diversified content, content rooted in local content. But the second part is creating an offering, the model of offer with appropriate pricing that will be compatible and will allow new audiences, also the youngest one, to use our service. And I think that if we are talking about challenges, what is challenging is the youngest generation, where the pattern of media consumption is still quite difficult to predict. Because they are not so keen to watch video, they are rather rooted in gaming, listening to the music, and their life is in social media. So the competing on time is really and competing on time and making them to stay in paid service. Well, it's something that may be challenging, I think, now, but for the next few years also.
Yeah. So you're not only competing for time, you're also competing probably for the willingness to spend, right, and to pay for.
Last year we produced exclusive Player original, which was reality show Fame or Shame, and we asked TikTok influencers and social media influencers to join us in order to to meet new audiences where they are with people they know and to approach our brand and to stay with us. We also premiere first episode. We also allow the users to watch first episodes of our premium content on social media, on Facebook, in order to show them that we are open for them to join our service and to stay with us, that we have content that may be interesting.
So it means not only that you have to, I just want to touch about the pricing structure, but I think that's a very broad point, that you catch the audience and engage with the audience according to their social media behavior, and where you can really engage with them. But also you said something in the beginning, you said, in Poland, people are very price sensitive and willingness to spend is not that high. And I think it would be also good for the audience to understand how you monetize your services. I know, Piotr, you are pretty much restricted from doing so because that's the Swiss law, but now could you pretty much talk about this? Or is it something that how have been priced, and what was the feedback from the market that you received after launching BritBox abroad?
Yes, so before we go into any new market, we'll do quite extensive consumer research, but ultimately you don't know until you launch really how the pricing is going to sit with consumers. We have a very simple model of a straightforward monthly subscription price, which is typically sort of around the base price or slightly under that of Netflix, that sort of level. Or you can subscribe for 12-month period, and you just pay a lower fee to do that. And we're finding that an increasingly attractive model for consumers, and a significant proportion of consumers are now opting straight in for a 12-month subscription because they know they're going to want to stay with us and see the value of paying less to do that. So it's quite a straightforward business model, therefore important we get the price level right. We offer a free trial which is very effective for customer acquisition. So typically a 7-day free trial, just to enable people in to try the service. We're finding that sort of length of free trial is perfectly sufficient nowadays to enable consumers to understand whether they want to stay. And then we're very focused on how many of those free trialists we can retain as paying subscribers, and optimizing that. And that's where content, as we were just saying, content becomes very important. We categorize our content as content that's we're acquiring and using for the purpose of acquiring new customers, subscribers. So some content will be there as a marketing tool, and that might be big exclusive content we will market heavily and invest heavily in. But then we have a different core of content, which is what we see as our retention content, which is what keeps users in the service. And we actually find that can be quite different content. And even though when we do research, people will point to particular types of content they're looking for, once they're actually within the service, we find consumption can be quite different from that. And that's where we use a lot of the depth and catalogue and long-running seasons of existing shows to keep consumers in, because churn is such an important metric for a subscription service, and again an area that as a free-to-air broadcaster traditionally is quite a new concept for us, and very important to make the business model work.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. This transformation from free-to-air then to paid service, and to understand what resonates with the audience, what keeps the audience happy. And yeah, and there was a question that came from, I saw that from Kasha. Pierre, but you wanted also to add something to that, what the importance of content and understanding what resonates.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that question that Neil answered from a public service broadcaster perspective, because we might think, well, public service, you don't charge anything. This is basically a platform that's free, so to say. But on the other hand, in Switzerland, at least, and I think in the UK as well, taxpayers receive a bill every year, and it's quite a substantial one. It's 360 francs, so almost 300 euros per year. That's the license fee that is charged to every household on a separate bill than your tax return. And so people really are expecting something from the public service broadcaster, and we're under increasing pressure like every other public service broadcaster in Europe. And I think there is a lot of scrutiny into what we are doing online. And in the way, I don't like to say that it's a free platform. I like to say that it's an already paid for platform by the users, upfront paid, and the price tag is quite high as well. And so we really have to deliver value to them, and we feel the pressure. We do feel the pressure.
As a substantial bill, I mean, 300 top francs. I mean, this is not. Most of the European countries have a public TV license that people need to pay for, but this is I think, I would say double and up to threefold amounts that people paying in other countries. I think that's very worthwhile noting, because I think that everybody's aware of that. We have a good 10 minutes left, and there are a couple of questions also from the audience, which I would like to push out to you guys. First question was for Kasha, saying your content is being paid content, so doesn't it limit you the ability to engage with the younger audiences? You saying that paid services that don't resonate with the younger audience, or not the willingness to pay is not that high, or the monthly spend probably is lower than say in the adults community. Kasha?
As I mentioned, we don't see any significant drop in our customer base after launching as VOD model of access only. as a main one, which means that attractive price of our basic package was the core value of the whole change of our business model. I don't think that it is challenging because, you know, we within 18 months we expect that our customer base will go back to normal, to the previous situation as we have as AVOD and SVOD mixed service. So having pricing, which I think as for today is 1.6 is about, I don't think, 15% of Netflix price for 30 days for having access to whole TV and Discovery library with pre-runs exclusive series is something that I think that is approachable and the younger audience is ready to pay for the best content. Also, we must remember that to them, cable service or linear TV may be something totally not from their world, which means that they may be more willing to pay for best content than to watch in TV, even if they may watch something for free, because it's about the model of consumption. So we are not afraid of that. We are optimistic. As I mentioned, Ad-Lite package is a huge success. So we are looking forward to young audience to, you know, grow among our viewers.
And as you said before, it's more about wallet share and it's more about gaming and other kind of things they're using for leisure that they're paying for, and not much about, as you just said, about a cable subscription or a traditional satellite subscription. There's another question from the audience on a total different subject matter for Gerard. It's about, is there a problem that there are currently two main differences in packaging delivery formats, one for broadcast and one for streaming? And shouldn't the transition to native IP broadcast, especially AVR packaged video, be accelerated to that there is only one distribution format in the future? So I was a bit looking into a glass ball, I would say. Gerard, would you like to take this?
Absolutely, absolutely. And thanks a lot for the question here from the audience. And really good question. And yes, the short answer would be yes, we would love to have one streaming format to rule them all. We have been talking only on the IP distribution. When you look now, not even on broadcast, but only on IP distribution, even there are multiple streaming formats like HLS, like MPEG-Dash, not to mention all the codecs which are behind that, like HEVC, H.264, VP9 and so on. So for sure, this would be the main goal, to get everything to one streaming format. I truly believe that this will not happen. Probably this will never happen because we have so many different players in the market only on the IP side of things. When you look at the different browsers from Google, from Apple, and obviously there is always an interest to promote their own streaming format, to promote the own codecs, as there are some advantages here. So to answer it, yes, this would be awesome, and I would 100% support that. On the other hand side, this is exactly what we at Bitmovin are here for, and what we enable our customers to say. Our customers get all the different IP streaming formats and IP streaming codecs to deliver it to any device and any platform. And this is also what we have built our business model on for it. I don't believe that there will be only one streaming format, even if everything moves to IP, for example, and we forget about the broadcast side of things. Even then there will be multiple streaming formats in the future as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I think we just have discussed a lot about content before. Now we have more technical question, but I think it's all, when it comes, the bottom line here is that it all comes about the audience and how to reach the audience, and not only with content, but also in a format so they can receive what we try to push out to them. And
one additional comment here, if you think that obviously there are so many different audiences out there, and they are using, the majority uses different devices and different platforms. So it's super, super important to support all the streaming formats, because you can engage with more people and you can increase your revenues, obviously.
Yeah, but I think it's also a lot of people betting on that we have two operating system left in the future, and yeah, I think it's also we don't know how the market will evolve and how it will change and how many devices and what kind of different devices will come up there. But in the end of the day, I think it's twofold. It's one is the content side, that you have the right content, the right formats, and you have also be prepared to distribute it to every device. And I think that's the balance you
Yes.
take. Is there anything else that comes to your mind in regarding, and I think you touched a little bit about this monetization and willingness to pay? I think you Niall explained that how they're segmenting the audiences, understand what kind of content makes people stick to a service, what are they interested in. Is there anything else? Marketing, we discussed a bit. What do you think is really key to make an OTT service or that transformation successful? I mean, that goes to all of you, I mean, as a question.
I mean, one thing, if I can speak one thing to add here, and some of our panelists here talked already about that, marketing is obviously becoming more and more important. Why? We have also seen before COVID, but even when COVID hit, that there are so many niche services got into the market. So I'm not talking about big broadcasters launching an OTT service. I'm really talking about also smaller companies, mid-market companies launching niche content.
Mm-hmm.
And we are more and more competing here against several smaller niche players as well. So targeting the right people is more and more important.
Kasia?
Yes, what I also like to mention is that the one question that I have in my mind is how long the publishing model for binge watchers will last. So I'm wondering if within next 12 months we will, able to meet in a world where still binge watchers have all seasons published instantly, or maybe publishers will consider a publishing model which gives, one episode daily, one episode in the week, differentiating publishing cycle in order also to prevent churn somehow and to build engagement in a different way. Also, I think that we must remember that some type of content is better to engage if you watch it in pieces, not everything, from the start within one weekend. So I'm wondering if it will evolve, because still, in Player we see that our audience, maybe some part of our audience would like to binge watch everything, and they wait for content to be published. So emission ends and they watch whole season. But the main part of our audience watch episode waiting for another. So binge watching is not the model that dominates. So I'm wondering how long will binge watchers have everything they want on SVOD platforms.
Probably time will tell. I mean, because if you have more time at your disposal and you spend more at home. Niall, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to add that we're experimenting in that area also, because as an example, we've been releasing our biggest new release recently, Line of Duty, which has been a very popular scripted drama in all our territories, and we've been releasing that one episode per week, even though we have it available to us all in one go, because the ability to engage with that audience and get the maximum value from that content over 6 weeks or more is really important to us, rather than putting it up and getting a big spike of interest for a couple of days and everyone's watched it within a week, and then it's passed on as a moment. Where we've found a real interest in people coming back each week, back into the platform and staying with us for multiple weeks, and then having more opportunity to find other content. I would quickly touch on the previous comment as well around marketing. What we're finding is distribution strategy alongside marketing, where we're partnering with local pay TV and telco platforms and mobile platforms. I think it's going to be a very important part of strategies going forward. You look what Stars Play and other services are doing, bigger services, where actually alongside having a direct-to-consumer strategy and appearing on the right connected TVs, having a partnership strategy where you are working with the big operators who are willing to host your apps and promote that content. It's a very efficient, effective way of cost-effectively marketing and building brand and reach for your service, but by working with those. So I think increasingly that's going to be an important part of any strategy for any VOD service operator.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I would love to have Pierre-Adrien as a comment on that, but I think it's a great stop here to make, because I think that changing consumer behavior, or will consumer behavior, viewer behavior change after post-COVID, and how will now then the OTT platforms need to adjust to that? A big question mark, and I think we can leave that open. And thank you very much on all of you. Pierre-Adrien, Niall, Kasia, Gerald, for joining us this morning and to kick off day 2 of the Nextv series. Hope to see you at one of the events in person again sometime soon. And thank you for the audience to listen to what we discussed this morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.